Yes. So how do you build world class consistency? How do you build world class consistency in your development, in anything that you do? Whether it is eating habits, training habits, keeping a journal, working your business. How do you stay consistent to achieve the outcomes that you want to achieve, right? And consistency is one of those skills that if you can master and become world class at, nothing is ever going to stand in your way. Nothing can get in your way if you become world class at consistency. So I'm going to go through that with you today. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Rise to Thrive show. I am your host, James Boardman. And if you are coming through, what I want you to do in the comments, if you're willing to open up, and this is part of your own accountability and getting involved and engaging for you to be able to self-reflect and raise your self-awareness levels, is are you consistent or are you inconsistent? And what are the biggest problems that you have with consistency? What are the troubles and the issues that you face? Okay. So this is where I feel many go wrong with consistency. And it is kind of tied in with ego and expectations, right? Ego and expectations play a huge part in people becoming inconsistent, men and women. Okay, men and women. So, people expect so much of themselves that they set the standard way beyond what they're capable of. Now, the example that I always give really highlights this, okay? If I was to ask you to run 30 miles a day for 30 days, could you do it? And I would say that 99.9% of people here probably couldn't. And that's not a criticism, so dry your eyes. But then if I asked you to run 2 miles every single day for 30 days, could you do that? You could, right? You could give it a really good shot. And I reckon that 97% of people here could do it. I reckon 97% of people here could run 2 miles every day for 30 days. And the key thing here to understand is that in one of those scenarios, okay, you can be consistent. And in the other one, you can't be consistent. You might do 1 miler, but you'll be dead at the end of it. And you get up the next day and your feet will be blistered, and your shins will be killing, your knees will be broke, your back will be sore. You know, even like I would struggle to do 30 miles a day. But again, my ego in the side of my head goes, you can smash that. I can smash that, mate. Yeah. And after about 5, I'll be like, nah, done. So it's recognising what our ego is telling us. Okay. So whenever we see somebody who wants to start a journey or a process, the sun's just coming up here, it's stunning by the way. New Year's Eve, classic, start of the year. Everybody starts right and then everyone becomes inconsistent. To be consistent, not only do we have to understand the level that we're at, we also have to have a couple of key things. Now, members of mine will know this, they'll understand it. Okay, and one of those things is structure, routine, and system. Structure, routine, and system. So, last night on our focus group, we talked about putting up foundations. 2 different houses. So we've got Johnny here and Barry here. So Johnny builds his house nice and quick, really quick. He does it in 3 months. Barry goes a little bit slower and does his in 6 months, right? But the main difference between the two, is that Barry has spent an extra 3 months building foundations to his house. That means it's stronger. That means when the wind comes in, when the storms come in, the house is more likely to stay upright. Whereas John, the mug, he didn't build them because he was rushing the process. So quite often, patience plays a huge part in your consistency. Those that become inconsistent rush. They look for the end result. I want it now. I want to see results. I want it now. I expect results. But we're not willing to dig down before we dig up. And because we don't dig down, and because we don't bound us and our future with foundations, okay, it crumbles. The minute the storm comes in, and the storm can be curveballs, triggers, divorces, change of jobs, redundancy, breaking your leg. Touch wood, you don't. But this is what's really important as well, so staying consistent. When we have foundations, which is our structure, our routine and our systems, we have the depth, the understanding, the conditioning, mentally, emotionally and physically, to remain consistent in our pursuit of our outcomes. I almost sound like I know what I'm talking about. I'm quite impressed with myself here. So we not only are talking about building the foundations, managing the expectations, managing and mastering the ego to become consistent. We almost must have connection as well. So connection is a huge part of your consistency. The minute that you become disconnected with what you're trying to achieve, with what you're trying to be consistent with. So if you're trying to be consistent with tracking your calories, if you're trying to be consistent with running, if you're trying to be consistent with showing up with your partner, right? You have to be connected to those things. So self-reflection is a huge part of becoming consistent. Okay, it's then one of those things. So in our elite brotherhood, in our world, what we ask people to do is go, do your accountability. Tell me what you did this morning. Tell me what your plans are. Tell me how your plans are going. Tell me what your wins and losses are. Give me some element of personal accountability. And what people are doing is going, right, bring back, like, they're in the chaos of the world. The world is chaotic. Well, all I'm asking them to do for a couple of minutes is bring themselves back, take a knee, take a deep breath, and just connect with what's happening in your journey right now. Just figure out what's happening. Figure out what's going wrong. Figure out maybe why we're not being consistent or why we are being so consistent. And it just allows you that moment to be able to reconnect with yourself about where you're going. Okay? Makes sense? So let's summarize those things that we really need to have in place to be world class at consistency. Okay? So number one was managing the chimp and the expectations, okay? You don't have to be the end. There is no end result. You just keep going, right? You just keep going. You just keep going. You keep going till you're dead. When you're dead, that's when it's over. That's when it stops. So the whole time we need to manage the internal conversation that's going on in our head by managing our chimp, managing our expectations, managing what we're capable of right now, okay? The 30 mile a day versus... Everyone's looking like, what's he doing down there? 30 miles a day versus 2 miles a day. Manage what you can manage, right? Second one is we need structure, routine and systems. So we need morning routines, evening routines. We need structure, i.e. to our planning. When are we going to go working out? When am I going to do my tracking for my calories? When am I going to switch my phone off? When am I going to have kid time? When is it date night? Routines and systems that go around that to give you control, progression and clarity. Then the consistency naturally flows beautifully within your life, okay? And then the last one, I completely had a brain fart. I can't even remember what I said on the last one. Self-reflection, accountability. Key, right, to coming back always and reconnecting yourself with the journey. Instead of being disconnected and going, I don't have time, when you do have time, you just can't be asked. You're just consumed and drowning in chaos and firefighting. And if you could do those things, I honestly believe that you could be far more consistent in life, which would allow you to feel more content. Because I think when you build consistency, man, you feel good about yourself, right? You feel fulfilled, you feel driven, you feel hungry. You're like, man, I feel good. Like I feel like I'm on a roll. I feel like I'm on a streak. And it makes you not want to come off that streak more and more and more. Yeah? Cool. Amigos, it's really great to have you on board. Thank you. At 12 o'clock today, if you don't already work with us, we are putting out our #1 offer. This is the best offer that I've put out there for anyone, is to work with me right up until pretty much Christmas. How dare you say Christmas in May? But it pretty much is going to be you working with me over 3 phases: the Elite 28 Day, the Elite 90, and then coming into Elite Brotherhood, on a 6-month journey of self-development. And that is going up at 12 o'clock, hot to trot. And the first 10 people that register are getting 50% off. The following 5 will get 25% off, and everyone else will just pay the full investment, exactly what it's worth, with all of the bonuses in there, which are mega, guys. Absolutely mega. So if you know anybody who needs this right now, tell him to hook up with us, and we'll make sure we square them away, and we'll square you away for hooking us up with them. Have a good day.